All right, welcome back to the Ramen Pod with Rich and Todd.
Hey guys, alright, we've got starting off with the black cards this time. We got Packed Weapon, a 3, 1 black artifact equipment. So as long as this card is attached to a creature, you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. That's pretty interesting. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you draw a card and reveal it. The creature gets +X/+X until the end of the turn, and you lose X life, where X is that card's mana value. And then to equip it, you discard a card. So the equipping is this card is fairly interesting just overall. You can go down to 0 and not lose the game, but if your opponent destroys the artifact, which if you're at 0 already, you technically you've lost. But you do get to draw every time they attack, not so much deal damage. And your creature does get bigger. If you've got large cards in the deck, it could be a pretty decent card. I don't know how I feel about the card, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this one's kind of strange. You do have to pay. A discard to equip it, but it makes sense that it's called a packed weapon because all the other packs have a pretty high cost to them. I don't think it helps you win the game. It just kind of keeps you in the game. Um, this has a lot of potential. I don't. It's a little too risky for me. Next one is Ancient Brass Dragon. It's 5 and 2 black. It's a 7/6 Elder Dragon flyer, so that's already pretty decent. And whenever Ancient Brass Dragon deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20. When you do, put any number of target creature cards with total mana value X or less from the graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, where X is the result of
It
the
says
d20.
graveyards, not just yards.
Oh, that's even better. This is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very good if you're even just doing reanimator, because it's like you could just, oh yeah, let's just reanimate the dragon, and then he's gonna come back, and then he's gonna bring all of his friends with him next time. So
And this thing is big, so when it attacks, you're probably going to be doing damage.
it's already big as shit, and then it has flying, and then you could probably put something else to make him, it's like put a basilisk collar on him. Now he has a death touch and lifelink.
Yeah, when I saw the name Ancient Brass Dragon, the ancient dragons in D&D are some of the strongest creatures in the entire universe. So I was really hoping that it'd be pretty strong when I saw what that was.
This is very strong. This is definitely, you could put this anywhere. Put this in standard. Put this in, dare I say, modern? I don't know. It's pretty
a little
heavy.
slow.
It is a little slow, but you could use this as your like one-time finisher. You know.
A one of.
Yeah, one of. Definitely auto include in any Dragon EDH deck for sure. Next one is Blood Money. It's 5 and 2 black for a sorcery. Destroy all creatures. For each non-token creature destroyed this way, you create a tapped treasure token. This is kind of situational. For it is a board wipe, so that's good. And then for each non-token creature destroyed this way, you get a tapped creature treasure token. So in a way, it kind of pays for itself. So you're not going to board wipe with just 1 or 2 creatures. You're going to board wipe when it has 3, 4, or 5. Technically, this could cost you only 2 double black. This could be okay. This is decent.
Yeah, makes sense that you took the blood money too.
Yep.
So now moving on to Altar of Baal. It's a 1 and a black artifact. It's also an adventure, which is a 2 and a black sorcery. You create a tapped 4/1 black skeleton creature token with menace. So for 2 and a black, for a 4/1 with menace, it's so-so.
Yeah, that's nice in my opinion, because it has menace. So you have to. I know it's only just 1 toughness, but menace. So you have to block with 2, and it has 4. This is potentially a 2-for-1.
And then back to its artifact side, you've got 2 and a black tap. Exile a creature you control. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. For 5 in total, for this, and it's recurring. Every turn, you get to return a target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I like this card completely, just as a whole.
This would be nice if it didn't say exile a creature card you control, but
Tokens.
Then, yeah, that is true. That
you
is
already
true.
got a token off of the adventure.
You know what'd be nice is that you have a token or maybe that 4/1, and then you just exile it, and then from your
the
graveyard
ancient
you get the
brass dragon.
dragon. Yeah, exactly. And then next one is Eldritch Pact. It's 6 and a black for a sorcery. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of cards in their graveyard. Yeah, this does exactly what black wants to do. This is fairly high, and yeah, it is a pact. Man, yeah, X. This could be really good or bad. In my opinion, it's a little too risky though. Great for life gain decks though.
Yeah.
Must say.
All right, so moving on here, we got Asturian's Thirst. It's a 3 and a black instant. Exile target creature. Put X 1/1 counters on a commander creature you control, where X is the power of the creature exiled this way. This is okay. This requires your commander to be out.
Well, it doesn't require it, but you're gonna want to have it out.
That's right. That's kind of what I meant. For a 3 black exile target creature, there are more cards in Commander that do that for less than that. But then again, you do get to buff up your Commander if your deck is Commander based that can attack. It'd be okay, but to be honest with you, personally, I don't really like it.
In Standard, it's not even that great. It does exile, but even murder, just murder by itself is just like destroy creature for 3.
Yeah.
This is 4. And then, I don't know, it's just too narrow. It's good if you make it around it, but who's going to want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Next one is Intellect Devour. It's already devouring. Yep, it's already devouring my intellect already. It's 3 and a black for 2 and a 4 horror, and it says, first line is Devour Intellect. When Intellect Devourer enters the battlefield, each opponent exiles a card from their hand until Intellect Devourer leaves the battlefield, and then its second ability is called Body Thief. You may play lands and cast spells from among the cards exiled with Intellect Devourer. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend any mana as though they're cast. So this is pretty good. It's a 4 for a 2/4 body, and it uses your opponent's cards. Pseudo card draw. You could pay any mana. So if you're in mono black and you exile someone's card that's green or blue or red or whatever, you could still pay any color to cast it. I like it. It's decent.
I have to say it's very wordy.
Mm-hmm.
You lost me like twice as you were reading because
Yep.
you just kept going and I couldn't pay attention. I had to read this thing like 3 times.
Basically, this is great if you can blink it. Basically, it says ETB, each opponent exiles a card from their hand until Intellect Devour is destroyed, and then you could, those specific exiled cards, you can now play them.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, it does what its name says.
Oh, yeah.
So, next, moving on, we got Call to the Void. It's a 4 and a black sorcery. Each player secretly chooses a creature they control and a creature they don't control. Then those choices are revealed. Destroy each creature chosen this way. Okay. I think that's just too roundabout. Like, why don't you just say destroy target creature? Like, so each player secretly chooses a creature they control and a creature they don't control. I mean, in a way, this could either be we both choose the same one creature that I have and then it's destroyed, or I could choose a different one than they choose, and they lose stuff. For 5, you could, at minimum, you're getting rid of 2 creatures. One is your own. If your deck's based around destroying your own creatures,
Sacrificing.
That could be, yeah, that could be pretty decent.
This I don't know what the hell's going on here, but this is one of those chaos cards. And then I don't know how you would stop people from cheating. It's just like, okay, Tim, you chose that one and that one. Okay, Rich, what did you choose? Oh, I just happened to choose the same thing. It's just like, what is that? Like, what were we gonna like write it down on a piece of paper first? It just seems kind of slow. But yeah, I mean, if you have one of those chaos decks where it doesn't really matter what you're doing, you're just like messing around, trolling around. But all right, it's to each his own. Next one is Ravenloft Adventurer. It's 3 in a blue, 3 in a black for a 3/4.
Man, that intellect devour really hit you.
Oh my god, it's hitting me right now. When Ravenloft Adventurer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. So ETB take the initiative. If a creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and put a hit counter on it. So that's good even by itself, because now anytime like I want to sacrifice things, instead it's exiled. And let's see what the hit counter does. Whenever Ravenloft Adventurer attacks, if you've completed a dungeon, so that's kind of situational, defending player loses 1 life for each card they own in exile with the hit counter. That's a little too narrow. You would have to complete a dungeon anyways. What is nice though, 4 for a 3/4. Right? Human tribal. ETB take the initiative, and then anytime I sacrifice things, it exiles it. I think that alone is good. The last line of text there, that's just kind of...
I don't like the last line.
Yeah, you don't like the last line?
It's way too situational.
Yeah.
But that second ability right there, that's pretty great.
I think the last line of text, you shouldn't really worry about. It's just kind of in addition to this card.
But it's nice that that this card lets you take initiative in the first place.
Yeah.
So it does. Not only do you get that third ability eventually, maybe, but it takes the initiative, as it were, to get towards it. So, yeah. Now we got Shadowheart, Dark, Justiciar, Justicular, whatever that says. It's 3 in a black, legendary creature, human cleric. Human elf cleric. Right, this card's just all around. So it's a 3/4. 1 in a black tap. Sacrifice another creature. Draw X cards where X is that creature's power, and you choose background. I really wish that it was either tap or it was 1 in a black, not both, to do this. But 4 for 3/4 with a reoccurring ability. If you got a sacrifice deck and it can be your commander, you draw X cards where X is the creature's power. I think it's an okay card. I really wish that it was just one or the other.
It's an engine. It's a draw engine, so that's good. Albeit a narrower one, but you could put this in something that it already wants to. Part of the 99. I think you'll be just fine. Next one is Elderbrain. It's 5 and 2 black for a 6/6 horror menace.
So, start us up here. Just like I was interested in the ancient dragon that we spoke about earlier, I'm really hoping for good things on this Elderbrain, because these things are the leaders of the Olithids in D&D, and they're very powerful. Sorry, go on.
That's it. No, I'm kidding. for anyone that was just listening, that's it. No, I'm kidding. Whenever Elderbrain attacks a player, exile all cards from that player's hand. That's pretty nice. Then they draw that many cards. Well, they basically loot their entire hand. You may play land cards and spells from among the exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled, and if you cast a spell this way, you may spend any color to cast it. Well, if I'm not mistaken, even if this card goes away, you still get to cast the cards from exile.
Yeah.
And 7 for a 6/6 menace, not the worst.
And, the thing is that even though, yes, they do get to redraw those cards, you could potentially be getting rid of cards in the engine in EDH. Or even counter spells.
Yeah, well, if they had a counter spell, they would counter this.
Right, but if this is already on the field,
Unless they unless they wanted to pinwheel. In that case, you would be helping them. But it's like, hey, whatever. It's also worth mentioning they go to exile and not in the graveyard because you could use those cards. So that is good for any decks like Mirren that I play. Next one is Cultist of the Absolute. It's a legendary enchantment background for 1 black, and it says commander creatures you own get +3/+3 and have flying and death touch. That's pretty solid.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Also, you could pay 3 to give it ward, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. So that is the downside, is that at the beginning of your upkeep, you have to sacrifice a creature. But again, if you're already trying to sacrifice, this is basically a sacrifice outlet. And in the meantime, right, your commander has 3/3 flying death touch with pay 3 life, give it ward. Yeah, it is pretty solid.
Alright, so next here we got Skullport Merchant. It's a 2 and a black. Dwarf Citizen 1/4.
What?
So when this creature enters the battlefield, you create a treasure token. So treasure token for 3 mana. It's okay. It is a body. You got 1/4. Next ability is 1 and a black. You sacrifice another creature or a treasure and you draw a card. So for that, I do kind of like that. It does give you a reoccurring ability that you can activate multiple times per turn for sacrificing a creature or a treasure, and you draw a card. So that's a good outlet for sacrificing.
Next one is Topaz Dragon. It also has an adventure on it. The adventure is 1 and a black, an instant. Creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. That's solid if you have a team of 1/1s coming. Give them all death touch. Then for the creature side, it's 4 and 2 black for a 4/4 flying death touch. This is just a solid card. This is solid. I wish it had another ability, or maybe a
little bit higher attack too.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. But it does have death touch as well,
and flying.
This is solid. It's not great. It's not bad. This is solid.
Alright, so now we got Cast Down. It's a 1 and a black instant. Destroy target non-legendary creature. For 2 mana, it's decent. There are other good cards. In Standard, this is probably great.
In Standard, this is great.
Yeah.
And also, this is a reprint, too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Standard, this is great. We tried to make this work in Modern, but there are better things. But it's still solid. It's solid. Instant speed as well, right?
Yep.
Next one is Sigil of Mercurial. 2 and 1 black for an enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill a card. When you do, if there are 4 or more creatures in the graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, and it gains death touch until end of turn. This is okay. I wish it would have been like mill 2 cards. It would have been kind of greedy if it said mill 3 or 4 cards. I get that. The 1/1 counter is kind of irrelevant, and if you're in black, you kind of already, a lot of them have death touch. This is kind of a win more card. It's I want to say it's okay, but I'm leaning toward bad actually.
All right, so now we got Cloud Kill. It's a 4 and 2 black sorcery. All creatures get X minus XX until end of turn, where X is the greatest mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. So, just like the original Cloud Kill in D&D, it's not the greatest. I think the cost is kind of high. A lot of the commanders don't have super high mana values. If this was instant, I would like it a little bit more, but the cost is pretty high.
Yeah, and if they did have a high mana value, it's probably something big, and you don't want to destroy it. Next one is Ghost Lantern. It also has an adventure. And the adventure is 1 in a black. Instant adventure. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty solid. And then you could play the equipment, Ghost Lantern for 1 black. And it says whenever a creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on the equipped creature. That is also solid. And then only equip for 1. Yeah, this is pretty decent.
For a
like
sacrifice deck, that's great.
Yeah, this is decent. This is good.
Alright, so now we got Ambition's Cost. It's a 3 and a black sorcery. You draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life. For standard, this is probably decent. For black, I do think there are better, less costly cards for drawing. It's an okay card, in my opinion.
Yeah, another reprint. Draw 3, lose 3. This is exactly what black wants to do. Again, in those life gain decks, is kind of irrelevant. You're paying 4 to draw 3. That's what it really says in a life gain deck. Again, yeah, it is kind of narrow. I wouldn't... Well, no, would I? This is situational. Maybe I only put a copy or 2. I definitely wouldn't put 4 of them in. Next one is Varrock. It's 3 and 2 black for a 3/3 bird demon. Digging the artwork too. It's flying, and it also has an ability called Toxic Spores. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. That is actually pretty nice. And think about it, a permanent you controlled. So you know all those fetch lands?
Mm-hmm.
That's 1. And then if you sacrifice something, that's 1. That's 6 life in one go around. What about next turn? Another 6. Next turn, another. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they only lose 3 life regardless of the amount of cards that leave.
At the beginning of your end step of permanent controlled. Oh, so it doesn't stack each opponent?
No, it does not.
No. Well, it is each opponent.
Yeah.
So if you have multiple opponents, 3, 6, 9.
I think this would be a little way overpowered if it's stacked.
Yes, finally a good card.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, I like it.
Next here we got Sivrus, Nightmare Speaker. It's a 3 and a black snake cleric warlock. Okay, that's
quite a lot.
Legendary creature 3/3. I'm loving the artwork on that though.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tap, sacrifice another creature or artifact. And for each opponent, you mill a card, then return that card from the graveyard to your hand unless that player pays 3 life. And it's got choose a background. This could give you some combo stuff here. You have to just keep restanding it, but I think for what it does, it's an okay card, Yeah.
Next one is Agent of the Iron Throne. It's 2 and a black for a legendary enchantment. It's a background. Whenever commander creatures you own have, whenever an artifact or creature you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. So this could be decent in like Blood Artist decks. It's kind of narrow for anything else. 3, I would have liked it to see maybe 1 in a black or maybe even 2 black. Double black for this. Blood Artist effects. Yeah, it's alright. It's alright.
Alright, so now we got Safana, Kellenport Cutthroat. It's a 2 and a black legendary creature human rogue, 3/2 menace. So that's pretty decent right there. At the beginning of your end step, if you have the initiative, create a treasure token. That's nice. Create 3 of those tokens instead if you've completed a dungeon. So that's kind of a win more right there. Mm-hmm. But honestly, just ignoring everything else, 3 mana for a 3/2 menace, that's decent. And if you've got initiative, then you get a treasure token. So I like it, and it can be your commander.
Yep, and also you could choose that background as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is Bonecaller Cleric. It's 1 in a black for a 2/1 human cleric. Okay. You could pay 3 in a black and sacrifice Bonecaller Cleric, and that would return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery.
Ancient Dragon.
Yeah, that is really nice. And, well, I understand, like, okay, You have to pay 2, and then you have to pay 4.
You can reoccur this card.
Yeah, because it sacrifices, so it goes to the graveyard. Then you could get it back from the graveyard.
Yeah.
And then you could sacrifice to put something better from your graveyard to the battlefield.
It's like if you've got the that giant brain or an ancient dragon in your grave, you know, it's very recurring.
It's backbreaking because you, and again, I know my first instinct is like, well, it's 2 plus 4 mana, right? So that's 6. Well, here's the thing: you could get this out early. Use your bigger threats. They have removal for them, but you pay 4 and get something that cost 5, 6, 7 out later on, and they already used all their instants and sorceries and counters for the first time. Now you're giving them a second time.
The other thing is, say your ancient dragon's in the graveyard. Ancient dragon costs 7. Now he costs 6.
Yeah, first turn. And then if you already had Bone Collar out, 4, right? I mean, yeah, this is great. This is good.
All right. So now we've got Viconia, Drow Apostate. It's a 2 and a black legendary creature, elf cleric, 2/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, return a creature card at random from your graveyard to your hand and choose a background. That's pretty decent. And it could be a commander, you know, to do that at the beginning of your upkeep. I like it.
You know, it would be great if it was like black-green. If it was like 1 black-green, and that way you could do like elf
You could
tribal.
recur Bone Collar with this too.
Yeah, just too narrow, and then you don't get to pick which of the 4, right? And then if you had 4 and then you did this, now you can't use the effect next turn because you only had 3. See what I'm saying? And then it's a elf cleric. It's just not a lot of synergy around it. I guess if you had a lot of death touchers, this could be cool, right? You just keep recurring death touchers. But I don't know. It's okay. Next one is Severok, Deathbringer, 3 and a black for a 3/4 human knight. At the beginning of each player's end step, if no permanents left the battlefield this turn, that player loses X life, where X is Severok's power. So basically, if nothing happened, you lose 3 life. I don't know. It's a little too narrow. There's always something going on. Someone, some permanent leaves the battlefield, something gets killed, etc., etc. Nah. I'd say this. You know, you can't use it as your commander as legendary. You can choose background as well, by the way. It does have some human and knight synergy, so that's good. And honestly, 3/4 for 4, not the worst either. But all that, and I still don't think it's that great.
Alright, so moving on, we got Passageway Seer. It's a 3 and a black Tiefling Warlock 2/2. It's got lifelink. When this card enters the battlefield, you take the initiative, and at the beginning of your end step, if you have the initiative, put a 1/1 counter on this card. So it's going to keep getting bigger. It's a 2/2 for 4 with lifelink, and it gives you the initiative. So right off the bat, you're going to, at the end of the turn, this is going to be a 3/3 lifelink for 4. So I like it.
This is a solid card. It's not great, but it's basically a 3/3 lifelinker for 4 that can get bigger. So it does have some upside. This is okay. Next is Criminal Past. It's a legendary enchantment background. It's 2 and 1 black. And it says commander creatures you own have menace, and this creature gets plus X plus O, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. That could be really good if you have a lot of creature cards in your graveyard. Plus, it has menace. Yeah, this is good. This is good.
All right, so now we got Nothic. It's 4 and a black. I really like the artwork on this. It's a horror 4/3 for 5. Not bad. When it dies, you roll a d20. Okay, here we go. 1 to 9, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. 10 to 19, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Nat 20, you draw 7 cards and you lose 7 life. So for 5 in a sacrifice deck, at the very least, you're going to be getting 1 draw and lose life. Plus, you got a body that's 4/3. Obviously, you want that nat 20, but I kind of wish that this was more either. If this was when it dies, you draw 2 and lose 2 life, it would be better. It's so in my opinion.
I actually don't want the nat 20 though, because like if you have 20 life and you lose 7, that's quite a bit. And yeah, it's nice to draw 7, but you probably have like 3 or 4 cards, and now you have to discard 3 or 4 cards. You did loot, but still, yeah, I think it would have been nicer just to have 1 through 9, 10 through 20. It's it's a little risky. Next one is Armor of Shadows. It's an instant for 1 black. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1, +1/+0, and gains indestructible. So basically, you could put this on anything. Your opponent tries to destroy something, kill something, destroy, and you could pay 1 to make it indestructible. This is decent in black. Normally, black's the one destroying things. There's not too many things I could think of that give indestructible for just 1 black. It's situational, but yeah, it's decent. Can protect your big things like your ancient brass dragon, etc., etc.
So next we got Arms of Hadar. It's a 3 and a 1. It's a sorcery. Creatures target player controls get -2/-2 until the end of the turn. There are better cards to do that with. I think it's kind of costly for that. However, it is an AoE. So smaller commanders can do some damage too. Tokens, you can get rid of lots of tokens, but I think it's a little bit situational. So that's really all I got to say about it.
Yeah, if your meta has tokens, this could be pretty good. But apart from that, yeah, it's a little too narrow. Atrocious Experiment, 2 and a black for a sorcery. Target player mills 2, draws 2, and loses 2 life. Yeah, this is solid. I wish it was 2 black even. I would like this a little bit more. Even if it was just green black, I think would have fit a little bit better. But mill 2, draw 2, lose 2. Yeah, I like it.
All right, so moving on to Chain Devil. It's a 3 and a black devil, 4/2. So 4 for a 4/2. It's okay. Animate chains. When this card enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. That's decent. Get rid of your opponent's card, sacrifice one of yours, and it's a 4/2 for 4. I like it. It's all right.
Yeah, this reminds me of those flashbang marauder effects and everything like that. I do kind of like the artwork too. That's pretty weird. Moving on, yeah. Next is Deadly Dispute. It's 1 in black. And as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2, and create a treasure token. So it's really just 1 in a black because you're always going to get a treasure token, and then you draw 2, but as a caveat, you have to sacrifice an artifact or creature. But if you were already going to sacrifice an artifact or creature for value, it really reads, for a black, draw 2 cards. This is very good, actually.
Okay, so moving on, we've got Ghastly Death Tyrant. So stopping here, I just kind of put 2 and 2 together. This is Baldur's Gate, which is a Dungeons and Dragons area. So I shouldn't be surprised that I'm seeing so many D&D creatures. Anyways, we've got 4 and 2 black. I'm kind of hoping this is a good card considering what it is. It's a Beholder Skeleton, 6/5. So for 6, it's 6/5. That's not bad already. Let's see what it's got. So when it enters the battlefield, you choose 1. Disintegration Ray. Destroy target enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to its mana value. Or Death Ray. Creatures you control gain Death Touch until the end of the turn. I wish that this card was a little different.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like it
I
because
don't either.
disintegration ray. Why couldn't it just say destroy target creature less than three mana or something like that? Like destroy something instead it's like, oh, destroy enchantment. Well, destroy target enchantment. Why can't it be artifact or enchantment? And then a downside is you lose life equal to the mana cost. Well, why couldn't it just say destroy target enchantment or destroy target artifact?
A lot of enchantments cost a lot too.
Yeah, but the downside is you lose life equal to the mana value.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times when you're playing an enchantment, they're 4+ mana, so you go to destroy it, you're losing life off of that, whereas this costs 6 to do that. And yeah, it is a body, it's a large body, but there's things that you pay 1 and you destroy an enchantment, and you don't lose life.
Or even, Death Ray. That could have been a creature, it's like creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. Nah. Hell, it could have just been either or. It could have just been like, creatures with 2 or less die, or creatures with 4 or more die. That could have been good too. These effects, and then you only choose one either way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can blink him, but the effects really aren't worth blinking.
Why would you play him over the Ancient Dragon or the Brain or
like anything
else? Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of disappointed by the card.
Well, the artwork's nice, and he is a common.
Yeah.
Right? He's not exactly a mythic. Right. Next one is Gray Salad?
Slod.
Salad.
It's the thing you had in your chest in the D&D game.
Gray Salad. Got it. It also is a adventure, and you could pay 1 and a black to mill 4 cards. That is actually pretty decent by itself. Then afterwards you can pay 2 and a black for the Frog Horror Creature. That's a 4/1. As long as there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, it has Menace and Death Touch. So actually not too bad, because it already puts 4 in the graveyard for the adventure, and then if you have 4 or more creatures in your graveyard already, disregard that and just pay 3 for a 4/1 Menace Death Touch. This is solid.
And the nice thing about it is, with Menace, they got to be blocked with 2, so
it's always a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
If you have the creatures, of course.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next we got Guildsworn Prowler. It's a 1 and a black Tiefling Rogue Assassin, 2/1 with Death Touch, and when he dies, if it wasn't blocking, you draw a card. So if it's attacking, that's pretty decent in a rogue tribal. I like it.
This is solid.
Mm-hmm.
This is solid. Can anyone say Tiefling tribal? No, I'm kidding. Well, they are pushing Tieflings, which is cool. We've had rogues and assassins for a long time. We just talked about frogs and horrors. Not a lot of frogs, not a lot of horrors. They're bringing it. Tieflings, another one. And then this is solid because 2. So, what I like about Death Touch is normally, if you draw like a 2/1 later on in the game, it's not really going to help you too much. But if you draw a 2/1 with Death Touch, turn 5, 6, 7, whatever, still has Death Touch. So they try and swing in. You might want to think about that, right?
Yeah.
And then if you swing in and it dies, you draw a card. So pay 2, draw a card. Still good. Next one is Mold Folk. It's 1 and a black for a 1/1 Fungus Warrior. It also has lifelink. And it also has an effect called Mold Harvest. You could pay 1 to sacrifice another creature or artifact and put a 1/1 counter on Mold Folk. I like the flavor of it, yeah, because it's like you sacrifice another creature and then it gets, or artifact, and it puts a 1/1 into the Mold Folk. That makes sense. And it also has lifelink. This is still okay. It is a common, this is okay.
All right. So now we got Murder, which is a 1 and 2 black instant. You destroy target creature. So there you go again. You got a reprint. Yeah, that's better than the one that we were talking about that exiles. What else can I say about it?
Yeah, just normal card. Glad to see it in here. Next one is Mercurial's Edict. It's 1 and a black for a sorcery. You roll a d20. Its effect is 1 through 9. Choose an opponent. That opponent sacrifices a creature, so an edict effect, right? 10 through 19, each opponent sacrifices a creature, so each opponent instead of just one opponent. And then a d20 is each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power amongst creatures they control. This is solid. This is solid either round because at the bare minimum, choose an opponent, sacrifice a creature. That's just a needed effect at bare minimum. The upside is each opponent sacrifices, so not just one. And then, of course, the nat 20 is their greatest power because the only downside about the edict effect is they choose. So they choose, oh, I have a token. Sacrifice that. Also, I really like the artwork on it.
Yeah, it is really nice. So moving on here, we got Merkel's Invoker. It's a 2 and a black cat rogue 2/3, so you go with more rogues. Psychic Blades, 8.
I know how much you love 8. 8
Here we
is
go
great.
Again with the 8s, man.
8.
Oh my god. Creatures you control get +2/+0 and gain menace until the end of the turn. I hate it. I don't like this card.
Let me guess what you have to say about it. Yes, it is quite bad. Cat Tribal. Hoorah. Next one is Nefarious Imp. It's 2 and a black for a 2/1 flying imp. Whenever one or more permanents you control leaves the battlefield, scry 1. Yeah, this is
I don't like it. It's terrible.
Yeah, but you do get to scry.
It's terrible.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
Now we got Parasitic Impetus. It's a 2 and a black aura. So the enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. And whenever enchanted creature attacks, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's pretty much a 3 mana, 2/2 goaded. If it's your creature, you don't really gain life or anything, so you don't even get the second ability.
No, this is good for if you have like someone else is playing like a Voltron.
Yeah.
Or big creatures. It's like, well, they're already like a 5/5. Here, make it a 7/7, but you can't attack me. Right? I mean, especially and
should be fine in the side deck, I think.
Yeah, and then whenever it attacks, not you, they lose 2 and you gain 2.
This is really situational to the meta that you play in.
Yeah. Next one is Underdark Explorer. It's 4 and a black for a 5/3 lizard wizard. Yes, you heard it.
Lizard warrior.
Lizard. Oh, it is a lizard warrior.
Man, that Devour really got you.
It also has menace, and when Underdark Explorer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. This is a solid card. Do I wish it was 1 mana less? Of course. But
you could wish everything was 1 mana less.
Yes, exactly. And we do.
So now we got Vicious Battle Rager. 3 and a black. I'm liking the artwork there. It's a Dwarf Barbarian. 1/5. Okay. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative, and it's got Spiked Retribution. Whenever it becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller loses 5 life. Okay, and it's got a lot of toughness. I kind of like it. When it gets blocked, your opponent loses 5 life, so they're either going to lose 1 or they're going to lose 5. So if they don't block it, they still lose 1. If you buff it up, then that's great. I kind of like it.
This is a solid card. 4 for a 1/5 body. You take the initiative, and then if it blocks, you lose 5 life. Yeah, this is good.
All right.
The next one is Xanathrin Bandit. It's 1 in a black.
Xantarum.
Of course. 2/1 halfling rogue. Whenever
this card.
Zenithram. Bandit attacks. You may pay 1 life. If you do, create a treasure token. Life for a treasure token, 1 for 1. I think that's good. 2 for a 2/1. That's a little undercosted, but
You're pretty much gonna attack once.
Yeah.
So in the end of the day, it's 2 for a treasure token.
Yeah, and then there is a rogue synergies there. It's okay, I guess.
Alright, so next we got Hezro. It's a 5 and a 7. Again, another large D&D monster. It's an adventure. An instant for 1 black. Each creature that blocked this turn gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. Okay.
It's kind of random. Weird flex, but I dig it.
So it's a frog demon for 5 and 2 black, 6/6. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control becomes blocked, each blocking creature gets -1/-1. At least the theme sticks with both of it. But yeah, I don't really like it.
Yeah. Huzzah, frog demon. That's all I got from this.
I like the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork is nice. Next one, summon undead. It's 4 and a black for a sorcery. You mill 3, then return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is pretty nice because even if you don't find
Ancient Dragon.
Ancient Dragon, of course. And then even if you don't mill a creature, you could. This is just like pay 5, reanimate. Which I guess is kind of bad, but you do mill 3. In standard, this is good. In modern, it's a little slow, but
put it in commander.
You put it in commander, this is good. This is good if your strategy works with it, of course.
Alright, so now we got Sign of Hellister. It's a 1 and a black legendary background. Commanders you own have the first time you would draw a card each turn, you instead look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into the graveyard and the other on top of the library, then draw a card. So that's not bad. You get to scry 2, draw a card, toss a card to the graveyard. If your deck's based around reanimating, that's not bad for what it is.
Next one is Sturge. It's black, 1 black for a 1/1 flyer, but it can't block. It's an insect bat. It also has the ability Blood Drain. You could pay 2. You could pay 1 in a black. Also pay 1 life. Also sacrifice Sturge to draw a card. So, yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'd rather it just had Death Touch, but if you get this later on in the game, you can pay 2 in a life to draw a card later, which is better than just having a 1/1 flyer later in the game.
Yeah, but in the end of the day, it's a 1 and 2 black and 1 life to draw a card.
Yeah, it's really 3 pay 1. Yeah, there's definitely better.
All right, so last one here we got Thieves' Tools. It's a 1 and a black artifact equipment. When this enters the battlefield, you get to create a treasure token. So that's okay. 2 for a treasure token. Equipped creature can't be blocked as long as its power is 3 or less. I don't like it.
And then you also have to equip 2. So
yeah, that's kind of, you pay 2 to get a treasure token basically. Because why else? What else you can really do with that?
No, I guess unless you already had a creature with power 3 or less, something like that.
Yep. All right. Well, that's the end of this one. Next time we'll be looking over the red cards in the set. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you later.